We're back with Coffee with the Wolves. This week I am joined by Danny Turner, our men's basketball head coach here at JJC. Coffee with the Wolves, presented by JJC Athletics. Danny, I'd ask you how you're doing, but we're recording this after your Thursday night game, and I think I have a feeling, but I'll ask anyway. How you doing, Coach?
Oh, not too well. Not too well. We stunk up the place tonight. Sights quite surprising, to our wishes. Well, we thought we would come out and play much better brand of basketball. But right off the jump, we just came out really flat. No intensity, no alertness, and that was an operative word that we had on the board for pregame. Being alert.
Right. Now, I wanna dive into tonight's game a little bit, but we're gonna kind of start from the beginning because this podcast is new here at JJC Athletics.
Hmm.
This is only the second episode. We're starting it in the middle of basketball season. You're about midway through, give or take a game or two.
Hmm.
The beginning of the season was very up and down for the men's basketball team, but I think at one point you lost five straight,
Yes.
and then before entering tonight's game, you had won six straight. So
Yes.
you've kind of overcame a lot of adversity. You kind of overcame a lot of challenges through the first half of the season. Can you tell us a little bit about just some of those challenges you faced early in the season, and then getting to this point where you're now sitting 10-9?
Yeah. Well, we went through a stretch where, of course, we went through a lot of adversity in terms of injuries, sickness, and not having our full team. But obviously, no excuses there. But that's just a part of it. It's just part of athletics, and you have to persevere through adversity. And our biggest thing is, finding the right matchups, finding a decent rotation. But that was very challenging because of guys being in and out in terms of in and out of a uniform. Um, but so we were up and down. We lost our first game to McHenry by five, close game. Could have went either way. And then, of course, we beat a tough Kishwaukee team here. Um, and so we, thought that we would be much better. But once that adversity hit us, we had to make some necessary adjustments to get back on track.
What were some of those adjustments you made? Because again, very up and down in the early part of the season. But you clearly have gotten on track, even despite tonight's performance. You've gotten back on track. So what were some of those adjustments?
Yeah, just doing some different things defensively, adjusting our man-to-man defense in terms of our pressure level, and then of course we put a secondary defense in, which you saw tonight was just kind of brutal for us. Didn't work in our favor, but we put our 1-3-1 in, and we were very successful in our 1-3-1 with our last three wins, where we were able to play that secondary defense. Um, and we're still not done yet in terms of making adjustments. You're always going to make adjustments throughout the course of the year, and I'd rather go through the adversity early in the season than midway. You know, um, so we're looking forward to getting back. To our brand of basketball, and we still don't have everybody yet. We're still missing a couple pieces. We got a kid out due to an injury, and then we have a technical issue, technicality with another player. But those guys will be back within the next 2 weeks, and we should be full speed ahead.
Who are some of the student athletes on your team who have really stood out and made a difference? Specifically, let's say during the six-game win streak, but even earlier in the season, who's stepped up to kind of change the course?
Well, you got to look at Nico Vasilakis. Nico Vasilakis is a second-year player for me, and he's our most improved player. He didn't really play well tonight for some unknown reason, but we'll find out. But he's our most improved player. Nico's our utility guy. He can play pretty much all the positions and do them well. So we're really excited about Nico and finishing out his career here at Joliet Junior College in style.
Who else stands out to you?
Well, we got Eric Troutman, our point guard freshman, and we're young. We got um, a flux of freshmen. We only have three sophomores, so we're extremely young. But Eric Troutman, our point guard, he's one of our captains. So he leads us on both sides of the ball. So we're really pleased to have him and grateful that he's here with us. And then Alex Vasilakis, the twin of Nico. He's a sophomore. He was all region for us last year, all conference in the last year of the N4C conference. Um, so he's one of our better players, as well as team captain. And we're really high on Romello Ali. Romello Ali is shooting at a high clip. He's actually shooting almost 40% from the three. Didn't shoot very very well tonight, obviously, but uh, he's a diamond in the rough, as they say. So we're really pleased to have him. And then Miles Gillespie, he's a kid that can play numerous positions on the floor. He's also a freshman that we're high on.
Now, I want to ask kind of about the 6 game winning streak that unfortunately ended tonight, but I believe it started in the second game of the Waubonsee Classic back in
Yes.
December.
Yes.
And from that point, you entered the holiday breaks. They had a little bit of time off, but then you came back and continued the win streak. You know, uh, what kind of motivated the team to come out and just make that run that they did in that stretch?
Well, as a coach, you're always challenging your players, having some short-term goals, and just switching up the approach. With the players and learning the players. So it'll take a while, especially with incoming players or newcoming players, to get to learn their personality, learn what motivates them, and I think we have a grasp on that. Uncharacteristic tonight, but just getting a real good understanding, a genuine understanding of your personnel, because each kid is motivated differently, so just finding those things out, those detailed things about each individual kid to continue to challenge them and again, motivate them to develop and become better players.
Now, I suppose at this point we can jump into the game tonight. Now,
Mhm.
we were originally supposed to record this episode of Coffee with the Wolves before the game, scheduling conflicts, and then having to get out there, use the equipment for the live stream of the women's game at 5. We had to push it back to after the game, which is probably a good thing because now we can talk about some stuff that happened tonight. This comes out Friday morning, so
Okay.
current events, so to
Sure.
speak.
Sure.
Uh, Not a great performance by the Wolves tonight. We were talking a little bit before we hit record here on the podcast. You spoke to the play-by-play guys after the game. A lot of turnovers, a lot of missed shots. Very much not the brand of basketball that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I guess to start, just what went wrong tonight for the Wolves?
Well, coming in, our game plan was to um, really prevent dribble penetration. That's why we went with our zone defense because they're a very, very well coached team with some really, really sound drivers within their offense and with their schemes. Um, and they shot for the season thus far like 32%, which is average. So we thought we would really have a good chance to contest shots and have a chance to be in the lead because we shoot 35% from the three. We're recognized as one of the top teams, Division III in the country for shooting. I've got one kid shooting almost 40% from the three, and the other kid shooting almost 36% from the three. But we shot dismal from the perimeter, and we couldn't run our offense. They were really, really energetic on defense. Give the Rock Valley credit. They took away the driving lines, and they also did a good job of defending our post. So we didn't have a lot of options to attack them. And then, of course, turnovers didn't help us. Our goal prior to the game was to have a minus 10 on our turnovers, but we had 10 by the halftime, and then, of course, we only had picked up a couple more in the second half, but the game was there was a far stretch for us entering the second half. But we shot very, very poor. We shot 10 for 32. We were about average 31% from the three, and um, and this is for the game, but we shot 24% field goal range for the entire game. Well, actually from two, but for the entire game, we shot 27%. And you're not going to win many basketball games shooting 27%. But the game, I believe, was really lost in the first half. Getting back to that, um, we just didn't shoot very well. Didn't get to the loose balls, 50-50 balls that you have to get to. Didn't secure the ball. We had the ball at our fingertips and we lost it numerous times. Too many times. But in the first half, we shot from 2-point field goals. We shot 24%, and that's uncharacteristic of us. We were like 11 for 45, um, and so we only scored 20 points. And we're used to scoring double of that, at least 40 points by halftime. But overall, we shot 27%. We were 21 for 77 from the field. And again, that's uncharacteristic of us. I thought we would come up back with fire, and cut down the lead. And then we try to press, try to extend our defense, and to no prevail. We were unlucky in covering spots.
Yeah.
To apply that pressure.
What did you expect from Rock Valley coming into the game today? You mentioned you thought you'd have a good chance to maybe keep pace with them in terms of shooting, and that just didn't happen. So, like in your opinion, what were you looking to do coming into the game, and how did they adjust to you?
Right. Well, we try to neutralize them. That's why we played our 1-3-1 zone, and to cut down dribble penetration. In scouting them, they can really get to the basket. They have really strong guards and a couple solid post players that know what to do with the ball. So we try to neutralize them in our 1-3-1, and they just shot the ball right off the gate, just extremely, extremely well. They shot 47% from the three in the first half, to be exact. And that was kind of discouraging. They shot 7 for 15 from the three, so that's 21 points just from the 3-point line. And they're up 21, against us going into the locker room. But we thought we could neutralize them, and we thought we could run with them. Offensive transition game has been really good to us. But it was flipped. We couldn't get back in transition defense. They ran ran on us. So that's the irony with the game, because you can prepare and dot your I's and cross your T's, but the players got to play, and they got to get out there and believe that they can get it done.
I believe in the post game, it was Eric Troutman who said Rock Valley kept hitting the corner threes, and that was very much a weak spot for the Wolves tonight.
Yep.
How do you go about neutralizing that threat when it's just so aggressive in the game?
Yeah. Well, and we talked about it in the pregame. Our plan was to really anticipate the corner. We knew they liked to stretch, and the corner shot in basketball is one of the most important shots because it spreads the defense out. It's a long closeout. So we got to do a better job of anticipating that corner pass, and playing angles better to slow that pass up from getting to the corner. We did a poor job of anticipating on defense tonight, so they were able to get a lot of corner threes because of that.
And I believe it was Alex said that just really poor ball control all night too.
Yeah. We didn't move the ball well. We didn't play off each other. That's a concept that we teach, where you just read each other's movements. We look lethargic, to be quite honest with you, and we just got to get more spacing and more movement. And we've had some really, really good practices. That's what the irony is. We've really, we practiced in the old gym yesterday, and the guys thought that was pretty cool. And, so we've gotten after it, and guys have had a rest period as well, a day or two off. And so it's part of it, though. You just got to get back to work and and problem solve
Yeah.
and see where this can lead us.
What'd you tell the team in the locker room after the loss tonight?
Well, I wasn't able to get in the locker room, but I told my assistant coaches because of the post game interview.
Ah, yes.
Um, but I told my assistants to just stay positive with those guys and let them know that we got to get back to the drawing board um, and get back to work, and to keep their heads up, that we still believe in them, obviously, and we just got to continue to get better.
Now, it's never great to dwell on a loss, and I know your team's not going to do that. Unfortunately, because of impending weather, your game on Saturday got postponed. So
Yes.
you're not in action again for well over a week at this point. January 20th against Harper College here at JJC.
Right.
Do you think that extra time off will help your team kind of prepare for the next game, or are you going to add more practices because of the way this game went?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll give them a day or two off, but we'll just get after it. We'll practice longer. We used to go a couple hours, but we may extend it another half hour of practice, and obviously get back in the weight room. And we've been doing some weightlifting over the holiday break, and so we'll continue to get back to our regimen of things and continue to practice hard and getting ready for Harper, which is a very very important game.
Now, just looking ahead for the rest of the season, since this is only our second episode of Coffee with the Wolves, for your first time on it, Danny, uh, what are your expectations for the remainder of the season? We're kind of pushing into that second half stretch. You're making a playoff push, hopefully. What are you expecting out of this team moving forward over the next month and a half?
Well, I'm expecting our rotation to get deeper, where we can rely on more guys off the bench. So it's a whole development process. Everything's under the umbrella of attitude in our program. How do you respond when you make a mistake, for instance, right? How do you respond when you get better? How do you respond when your teammate makes a mistake? But just that whole development thing. We got to continue to improve. You know, we got to continue to have the attitude to improve and to get better as individuals, so we can get better as a team. Um, but just getting back to the drawing board, man, and drill, and structure continue to structure our practices game like and with high intensity to best prepare them to compete.
All right, Danny. Well, at the moment, I don't have anything left for you. A little bit shorter of a coffee with the Wolves this week, but it was great having some, like I said, current events to talk about. The loss tonight.
Oh,
That's a heartbreaker. I guess I can go back to it. Just how did it feel being on the floor watching? Knowing your streak was coming to an end, second half late in the game.
yeah.
And just kind of trying to keep your guys positive.
Yeah, I mean, we thought we were going to be able to really compete. We thought we were going to win a game. We go into every game thinking we're going to win, first of all. And when we started being flat, and lethargic, I'm asking my assistants, what's going on? And call a timeout, make an adjustment. And, the guys just, they were not into it, and that's part of it. I've seen this before. Um, but you just got to get back to the drawing board and um, continue to believe in your team and keep working them, and keep building their confidence, and that's what we'll start, just being real positive, you know, and of course, um, spending more time in the gym, maybe extend our practice of another 30 minutes because we've had a lapse with time off and things of that nature, and just really, really get after it, you know. But the most important thing is just staying positive, giving that positive reinforcement and letting the kids know that, you haven't arrived yet, and maybe that's something in their minds that, hey, we're winning 6 games in a row and, really playing well, in which we have, and then all of a sudden tonight we hit a buzzsaw and, maybe they were overconfident and, not thinking that, nobody can beat us. And then it was a rude awakening for us tonight.
Right. Well, Danny, it was great talking to you. I appreciate the time. I know it's late at night when we're recording this. The episode itself doesn't come out until the morning, hence the name Coffee with the Wolves. But yeah, we'll have you back on in a couple of weeks at some point, rotating the coaches around. Hopefully, next time you bring a couple of your student athletes.
Sure, sure.
Love to get them on here and talk to them just about the program and whatever's happening on the court.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me. And I'm exhausted, man. I'm gonna sleep like a baby tonight.
Nice. This has been Coffee with the Wolves presented by JJC Athletics.